So our next speaker is going to talk about something so crucial in our schools that follows on from what Claudia is going to speak, is bullying. Now, if you go to Maveen's Project Braveheart website, you will see something there that I just loved what you did there. She said, we want to make and create the biggest anti-bullying movement. Wow, Claudia, thank you for coming, Maveen, thank you for coming this afternoon and sharing with us about what it is like to possibly create a movement that will transform our school environments.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor to meet you guys and be here today. I am a survivor of bullying. I was bullied throughout my school years, and going through this traumatic experience, like Claudia has said, that's where Project Braveheart started. I'd like to, the first slide will be the longest because that's our story. And then I will just give you some facts. In France, they've done a study now that 0.5% of kids are using something like Ritalin or any ADD medication. They found, after a lot of studies, that it's more social problems and trauma that's causing ADD. So they hardly have any kids using ADD, and I can vouch for that. When my kids were bullied, especially my youngest one, there was no problem up until the stage when she went to preschool. She was in smaller schools previously, but this preschool teacher, we also moved from Ermelo to Cape Town, and there was just a clash between her and this teacher. She eventually was too scared to go to school. We couldn't move her from schools, and that's where her journey started. Fortunately enough for my eldest daughter, it was all smooth running up until a certain point. And because of the trauma of my two daughters and my bullying, that's where Project Braveheart started. The impact it had on our family was huge. Like Claudia said, you do not know most of the times what the kids are coming to school with. The background at home, the social problems, and just the trauma they're experiencing the day before at school or at home. And I'll give you my daughters as an example. In grade 2 and 3, she had a bully that was eventually, well, it happened when she was in preschool and she was bullied. She tended to play with kids that had either a disability or wasn't socially strong. That was her comfort zone. So what happened is she had a friend that had a speaking disability, and she was covering for her, playing with her, and kids would find that a problem. They would pick on her purposely because she was helping this child. They were physically dragged through the mud, trampled on their food, and it was a huge problem to solve this problem. Eventually, I was called in by the teachers and said, you know what, I think your child's not capable of normal school system. Her ADD is too severe. She has to go to a special needs school. I think to any parent is a shock. You have to process this information. But when we sat down as a family, we decided rather go through a whole set of tests and discover if this is really the problem. We're fine to send her to the best schools for her needs, but is this really the problem? She had above average IQ, and after the tests were conducted, the gentleman said to me, you will do damage to this child if you send her to special needs school. We then moved her. I started working for another school in their clothing shop, and I saw how they were working with their staff, and I thought this is a safe environment for my child. So I moved her. We got to the school and it went well for the first 2 years. We had a bit of a problem with a teacher that had, as we call them in Afrikaans, witbroodjies, and she was easily picked on. Then this child in the class, a little boy, saw that it's fine to pick on other people. It's fine to hurt them. He started physically abusing her, calling her names, And eventually, her marks obviously deteriorated once again. Sorry, I just have to go back. When we went to the second school, the teacher that was her teacher in grade 4 brought her marks up to distinctions in every subject. That's a child that was first told to go to a special needs school. So eventually her marks were deteriorating again, and her marks were deteriorating again, and this child was writing it on the board. As soon as the teacher goes out of the class, do you know you're not going to make it this year? The teacher actually allowed them to go through other kids' tests and things like that. So it's the same child that caused the problems at the end, and eventually she was excluded from the whole grade. She was hiding in bathrooms. I was working for the school, and I did not know that this was happening to my child, because she was worried about me, what I would think, what I would say, how am I going to solve the problem? She was already acting like an adult, because this was not the second time. She saw the trauma that we as a family had to go through to actually change her situation. Needless to say, it was in 2013 and the Harassment Act came into play. We've got a friend who's got legal background, and she eventually said, listen, I can help you. This is what you need to do. This has gone too far, and my heart broke for that child. How can I actually take a child and take them for legal steps and then try and sort it out in this way? But I knew my child came first, and that's the message we give to parents out there. Your child is the most important person in your life. So eventually we sat in a mediation session with this child. His parents weren't even there. That poor child had to handle these adults going off on him, saying, you're not allowed to do this, you won't find a high school, this is what we're going to do. And I was cross at him, I'll admit it. Eventually, 2-3 days later, he found me in the hallway and he greeted me. And I refused. I had no time for that child. And he said to me, but I greeted you. I said to him, I know, but I don't owe you anything. And I turned around and I knew that's where Braveheart started. I owe that child everything. If I can be there for my child, then I can be there for another child. He had trauma in his life. His parents were never available. They were very well off, but they were touring the world and they were left to his older brothers to look after him. The sad story is, we waited about 6-7 years to start Project Braveheart for many reasons, and firstly also to help our children first going through this process and see what other needs there might be. This child eventually was moved out of 4 high schools. He eventually went back to the first high school he started, and eventually he tried to verbal abuse kids, and they physically abused him so badly that his parents took him out. But they still didn't ask the questions why this was happening. So he is now standing on the corners of the streets selling honey at the age of 18. He's got no future. His parents have all the money in the world, but they don't know how to help him. And this is where Braveheart is coming into play. What we've heard when they were still at school, they both are out of matric, is that child was so lonely that break times he would come and stand at the gate or at the fence just trying to interact with the people that still like him. That's sad. We cannot allow that. We can't move kids from one school to the other. We actually spoke to a lady the other day, and I'm going to elaborate on it well. I said to her, it's not worth it to go and look for homeschooling or moving your child. Rather look at how you can handle this, because this is going to impact your child for the rest of their life. That my parent was able to handle this. My parent was able to stay calm, and there is a future for me now. Okay. Bullies sometimes don't even know they're bullying. And that's a very important aspect to this whole situation, is that bully has become a buzzword. Everybody says, I've been bullied. Do they really know what bullying is about? So that's where Project Braveheart's going to come in and tell people exactly what bullying is, and when they can react to bullying and when not. This child's parents still don't know that they're actually bullying their child and that he became the bully. We also realized that people reacted differently to trauma. And here I'd like to make use of a case study we had recently of a mother and daughter that contacted us. The daughter was bullied for literally one session, if I can call that. They had a game that they played, these finger papers, and you choose your number. And this child, the number she chose said, you've got pimples, or pimple face, or whatever the case may be. That was it. A week later, the kids in the group referred to this, and they said, oh yeah, but you were the pimple face. So when we took the child into a session, we first gave her the opportunity to tell us what the trauma was all about. She could hardly speak. She didn't want to speak about the trauma. She dropped her head and we could do nothing. The mom then started chipping in, and the mom went high-pitched, and it's terrible, and it's awful, and it's da-da-da. And eventually the child was so nauseous, he said, can I please leave the room? We took her out of the room and we started talking to the mother, and the mother was actually becoming the problem, because this was a short incident, but she was so traumatized, she never thought her child would go through a bullying incident, that she struggled to deal with it. She was the one waking up the child in the morning and said, please tell me if anything happens at school. That's what we also want to do, is teach parents to handle these situations and be adults and act up the right way, because these kids are going to be in problems like Claudia said, if your safety net is not your safety net anymore. Now a bit of Project Braveheart. Braveheart, firstly, our slogan and our logo. And we've thought through everything when we started Braveheart. This is not just a nice to have, or this might look beautiful, or whatever the case may be. Everything has been thought out clearly. Our corporate colors are blue and red. Red for love and blue for forgiveness. The heart has white lines across it, and that represents the healing process of bandages. This is very important, that we do have a healing process. That's the most important process of it all. Because if you don't have healing, this will carry with you the whole of your life. Recently, there was an interview on one of the radio stations, and they had people phoning in, how were you bullied? And this gentleman was 64 years old, and he says he still can't deal with it. It's a problem to him. Our slogan, where the heart is free to change. Now this, to me, it lies the dearest to my heart of Project Braveheart. We want every South African, because this is a national program, to feel free to come to Project Braveheart and say, I as a teacher do not know how to handle a bullying incident. I as a mother have a problem, what do I do? I as a principal need your help, and we will not discriminate against that person, whether it be the bully or the targeted person. And why, you might say, we call them targeted person and not a victim? We do not want that person to walk out of here feeling a victim. Everybody these days feels victimized for some other reason. The bully then needs to change their ways, and the targeted person needs to forgive for healing to take place, so that both hearts will be free to live a full life in a safe environment. Now you may ask, what makes us different from other programs? There's a huge difference. Firstly, we're a national organization, and we're creating a massive movement against bullying in South Africa. And why are we doing this? Because we want to create a vehicle where the teachers, social workers, non-profit organizations, or other companies can come on board and say, listen here, I'm here to help. Because it takes a village to raise a child. It's not an easy project. Claudia, coincidentally, a week ago, she contacted me through Facebook and said, this is who I am, I really would like to help. It's times like these that we know we're making a difference and it's worthwhile. We're having the first ever National Anti-Bullying Day in South Africa for South Africa. That will take place on the 3rd of May 2019, where we'll be asking all South Africans to wear red for love and blue for forgiveness. A comprehensive and sustainable program that enables brave champions to actively work with the NPC. The brave champions are the communities and committees we're going to start in South African schools. This is our icon merchandising item. I'll tell you more about it now. But the committee members will be wearing gold ones in the school, so that if a child has been bullied, or a teacher has been bullied by a colleague or another child, can go to that committee member and it will be dealt with confidentially and with honesty. We are setting up training programs for the public out there, as well as teachers, as well as companies. Our training program has now been passed on to the South African Council of Education. We're working closely with the Department of Education for accreditation. Hopefully in the next month or two that will be finalized. We will be having ongoing support. And that's what I found as a parent when my child was bullied, that we have wonderful roadshows and a lot of people doing fantastic work, but it doesn't have that meat to it. It's got nothing behind it. Because sometimes if they do a roadshow in a school, the bully is not even there to hear that there's a problem or whatever the case may be. Being aware of changes in the system. If there's any regulations that's changing, whether it be legal or from the Department of Education, we will then get that information together and change the online courses or change the paper documents that goes with it. Why? Because we also have a clear ethos of honesty and integrity. And that's very important because every case needs to be handled with integrity. We also make sure that the boundaries and regulations are met. To make sure that organizations who present programs have the correct intentions and also information. That's very important. We have to know that what we're giving to the children out there is the correct information. To make sure that these, okay, I've got a step-by-step guide. Now that's a very important part of Project Braveheart. That's what I never had as a parent. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Do I report it to the principal? Do I report it to the teacher? Who's involved? Who's behind the story? So we're writing a step-by-step guide that's taking the Department of Education's regulations and we're combining it with legal action. So step one is mediation, which has never been done. Mediation is very important. The other day I watched a documentary on Paarl Small Prison where a lady, Joanne is her name, started group sessions with the 28, 27 and 26 gangs. They actually wanted to kill her. They thought that she's there to to cause problems amongst them. But she actually taught them how to mediate, to get along, to sort out situations. And that's what we want to do. So those committee members, we start in schools, will start mediation with the parents and the child. Regardless if the child or the parents are involved, they will then have backup to say, listen here, this child's not involved, what do I do now? Active partnerships with corporates and other NGOs, like I've mentioned. This is a registered, the other one we're actually dealing with now that's come on board is called Safety Net. The lady who started Safety Net is Rianet Leibovitz. Now she's concentrating on cyberbullying, and that's a whole new and whole different ball game. So we said areas where we're not so clued up on doing, we rather get people who are. So partnering with Rianet, we will know, she will give us the right information on cyberbullying and how to handle those problems as well. Another big aspect to us is the legal and social support. We are requesting now on radio interviews for all legal and social workers to come and register with us, to eventually have a database of people who are there to help. So if, for instance, you click on Pretoria, there will be a drop-down of either lawyers, psychologists, life coaches, neuro coaches, trauma counselors that were able to help the child or the adult. One of the requested criteria of these professionals is to offer the first consultation free of charge. That's also important because there's a lot of times people do not have the money to see professionals. So it will be clearly indicated whether they are offering that service free of charge. And then, of course, again, the massive movement to make all South Africans aware of this huge social problem in school, as well as the corporate world. I linked up to a business coach the other day that's actually helping us now. And when we had the discussion, he didn't even realize that bullying was such a big problem. 3 weeks ago, as you know, we lost 5 children in 1 week. And now every time I see something, whether it be in the States or in Australia or us, I forward this to him, and he is dumbstruck. He says he never knew that it's such a big problem because it's been used as a buzzword. We're making use of social media and marketing tools. And then, of course, we're running our 3 main campaigns throughout the year. Every year we'll have our National Day. And then we've got the hashtag Brave Community campaign and the hashtag Tell Us Your Story campaign. What is Braveheart Day? Braveheart Day is taking place at Tiger Valley Shopping Centre on the 3rd of May 2019 from 9 in the morning to 7 in the evening. And we invite you to come and look at our program. We will have Amelia Sarenberg, who I've brought with me today. She's the neuro coach that's going to have brave sessions with the people. We're going to have Bumani Meerkat. We'll tell you more about that. That's a book, and it also means brave. We've actually linked up with a company called MMM, a multimedia management modeling agency. They believe in inclusivity and not exclusivity. So they have models who's larger than normal, who's in wheelchairs, and also who has albinism or Down syndrome for that. To tell people and show people that every life matters. A National Day is a key initiative to bring us closer to a solution and get as many citizens, companies, schools, and communities together to help solve this problem. Now you may ask me, what is the Brave community? South Africa has never been more ready for a safer environment than at the moment. Like Claudia said, it's traumatic experiences that's causing the problems, as well as social problems. Adults as well as children need to feel free in our Brave community. We will not be focusing just on children at Project Braveheart. We're actually doing the full cycle of bullying. Because if people are bullied at the workplace, it actually runs down on the kids, and the kids then also bully other kids or teachers for that matter. Members of this Brave community will be, for example, a brave principal, a brave teacher, a brave school, a brave company, or even a brave citizen. We plan on honoring these Brave community members every year. The Tell Us Your Story campaign is actually an amazing campaign that started. I just thought maybe it would be nice if we share somebody's stories, how they were healed, or what happened. And it became such a heartwarming campaign that we actually got famous people involved, and we got every citizen and young person involved. JC, a child by the name of JC's story is going up next week, where he was bullied, had social problems at home, bullied at school, and it took his neighbor to take him in and say, listen, yeah, I'm here to help you. His grades went from 32% to one of the top learners in the school. He's doing a video blog for us as well as a written blog that will go up. They can either do it by video blog or a written blog. Some people would like to still stay anonymous. They're more than welcome to do so. So if you know of somebody who's got their story and like to share, please tell them. You're also free to visit our Facebook page to go and look at all our stories that have been shared, and I can guarantee you it's heartwarming stories. It's sad stories. People have also shared their stories with us, and once we confirm and say it's going up, are you ready? They say, please stop. I can't share it anymore. I don't have the guts to do so. Our icon item, as I said, is our red heart. These hearts will be sold at Tiger Valley Shopping Centre on that day, as well as at schools who want to partake. And then a few of the local businesses in Durbanville has actually taken up the challenge. One of the partners that's partnering with us with a heart shape is Bumani Meerkat. That is a book it actually means brave, and that's they heard about us on RSG when we did the talk, and they actually partnered with us. Bumani books are marketed now at Take-A-Lot. What they're doing is they're taking 2 Bumani books and actually adding a little heart to it and selling it like that to create funds. As you can think, to start such a program is huge, and there's a lot of expenses involved. Our vision mission, firstly, to limit the crisis of bullying. Our long-term vision is to create the most effective anti-bullying campaign movement in South Africa, where people associate the movement as a place of safety and a source of helpful information. What is our mission? Our country is made up of diverse groups of people, and mostly we do not understand one another and the problems each of us face on a daily basis. Therefore, we will be changing the way we look at one another. I see you, and I accept you for who you are. We will encourage victims to reach a place of forgiveness and will journey with the bully to lead a more positive life. Who will benefit from Project Braveheart? Like I said, it's for adults as well as children. Our program for the kids in school is much the same to the program in the workplace, because we will be starting committees in the workplace. People don't trust the HR departments anymore. So we decided to take people who are objective, the same would apply to schools, and eventually put them into a school system. It will be 2 governing bodies, a social worker, 2 teachers, 2 kids, and then also 2 parents from outside to make it fair. They will do our online course. They are not allowed to be a committee member if they have not done our online course. Market reaches, feedback from parents. Parents firstly do not know that they have rights. They are reluctant to complain due to possible further bullying or adversity from teachers. In some instances, the teacher may be the bully, leaving the parent with limited options. Some parents want to protect the bully because of possible background issues or circumstances at home. Lack of evidence, especially when their child is isolated from the rest of the group. Like I said, our school program, firstly, importantly, is the step-by-step guide. This will be available on our website, hopefully in the next month or 2, as soon as we have feedback from the SACE. The extensive programs we have in schools that will run for the first year to come. What we're also doing with our National Day is sending out a challenge to schools to partake in the week program before our National Day. We want to see if they can make a difference, either by having a 5-day program where, for instance, Monday would be a crazy sock day, Tuesday would be a high 5 day, Wednesday maybe working in the community. We're waiting to see what's happening and all the exciting things the schools are sending to us. Committees to assist with incidents, legal and social support, as mentioned, training programs, and then our amazing road show. Application to make school a safer place. These are our 2 amazing characters. On your left is Mickey Me, and on your right is Dula Bula. Now, how we decided on an ant and a bull? It's anti-bullying, so it's ant and a bull. We're creating a persona for the project. Children tend to relate to mascots and their storyline. Mascots will be used to market the event and to test our school program at designated schools. And we were so fortunate that Louise Smith, the acclaimed children's book writer who wrote Benny Bookworm, Pumpkin Patch, Kiddio, is writing our roadshow for us. Our ambassadors. Why do you say ambassadors? Ambassadors will be making use of we will be making use of famous adult South Africans. The ones we have on our list already is Mimi Mashaselo, who's Aggie from Sevendelaan, Quinn Brown, who's Connie from Sevendelaan, Ivan Roo, the new singer, Melian Dabeni, who's a tenor, Janus Erasmus, who's in theatre, Vanessa Marie Proudfoot, who's the famous netball star, to name but a few. We also have 2 children's ambassadors, Lelo Kingston Mofokeng. Now this little boy is exceptional. He grew up in a single-parent home, and his mom decided to let him read and write by the age of 1.5 years. If you go onto their Facebook page, you will see it is possible. And he was eventually bullied at the age of 6 and decided to write his own book at the age of 8. It's available on our online shop as well. And he took even his sketches that he made, how he was feeling, and incorporated that into the book. Our second child ambassador is Ethan Snyman. He's a young man with Down syndrome. And kids like that lie very close to my heart because I feel that very little has been done for kids like that. Our goals for 2019, of course, is radio, TV, and newspaper coverage. Information sessions using our mascots. And then we were so fortunate enough that the SABC hooked onto this program and gave us full participation in all of the areas, on video as well as radio. Our PSA public service announcement has been handed in, and we're waiting for them to give us the go-ahead, and it will be aired in, I would say, a week's time on the SAB platforms. We're doing aggressive marketing on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Of course, our National Day, and then our heart pins. Other marketing tools is our flash mobs in public areas, either by song and dance to make people aware of the problem. Exhibitions in shopping centres like our National Day in Tiger Valley Shopping Centre. Regular video blogs that we're getting from Icon in South Africa. We had a very nice one that was done at the end of last year by the Seven Delan team to motivate people to get involved. And we are currently negotiating with companies to assist us. This is very important. We want to raise funds for schools who cannot afford the program so that we can reach every child in South Africa. And then, of course, our merchandising items, our T-shirts, caps, etc. Just to summarize from a mom's perspective, Project Braveheart was born out of love and a deep understanding of a critical social problem, the crux of which is to provide love, hope, and support to every victim and bully, and of course, teachers out there. We want every South African to have the right to live their truth. Programs to follow in years to come, we're looking at having Miss and Mr. South Africa for kids with disabilities, things like that. We invite you to join the movement and be brave. You have to be brave to stand up to such a social problem. But if you are brave to stand up to such a social problem, Project Braveheart will be there to help you. Thank you. The training will start at the end of May. We're holding thumbs. We thought we could do it sooner, but unfortunately we are waiting for SAC to approve and accredit our course. We can start it sooner, but we'd rather go the right route and start the course. But we will let you know ASAP when that's available.
So how can people get hold of you maybe?
The easiest to contact us on info@projectbraveheart.co.za, to visit our website www.projectbraveheart.co.za, where you can actually register as a teacher, and then also our Facebook page is Instagram. We do answer the messages there.
Okay, you do.